Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Let's see who's in. John Austin, Reinventing the Wheel TV. Gent, Gents Club GTV, Divided We Fall. Flor Candia, Jumping Ship. David Kent, Preliminals in. Little Itty Bitty Pity Show. Hello, Shari D is in. Welcome. Ready or Not is in. Lord Frybread, Ronan the Voice. Katie B. All right. So what's going on? All right, there is some world news stuff today. Things are getting more martial law like. I'm going to go over the light stuff first. Okay, so here is local situation for San Diego, which I keep an eye on what they're up to. And they hide it here under latest news briefing slides. This is where all the good stuff is, like the least place you'd click on. Shoink. Okay, so this is what I noticed when I clicked on this. I've been kind of watching this, but not like every day. But they've added a bunch of new stuff here. So it used to be just a couple of criteria, was a positivity and then like hospital bed space. And then they added that contact tracing and PPE supply and ventilator capacity. Ventilator capacity is sort of out of, it's sort of like falling out of favor now because they're kind of admitting that the ventilators are killing everybody, but of course they still leave it on here. So we're like totally good in all these. Our positivity's been totally dropping. I don't know what all this they split the contact tracing into two. It used to just be one. Now it's case investigations and contact tracing. I'm not really sure what exactly the difference is, but now you've got two areas where you could fail. Homeless population. I don't know. That's a new one. Somewhat new one. Kind of a vague statement. Okay, so hospital capacity. This has been split into two: hospital capacity and increasing hospitalizations. So there's two areas to fail. Now, it used to be, okay, hospital capacity's fine. Say it's 10%, so it increases to 11%. Are you going to, oh my God, it's up 10% now. We failed. See, if it's 10% and it increases to 12%, that's greater than a 10% increase, we would fail. Okay, so it's not really likely that, because it's not going to drop down to 10%, but even so, there's just another area to fail, but we're not failing it. ICU capacity, we're fine. Ventilators were fine. PPE were fine. Okay, so some new stuff over here. This is the first time I've ever seen this. More, they see how they're doing it. This is like there's like twice as many of these hurdles that we have to keep above now than there was just like a few months ago. So the latest one is, so I'm thinking, oh yes, we're totally kicking butt on low testing positivity, but now we have this new one called case rate. So it's like the number of positives per 100,000 residents. So I guess they could just test a whole bunch and somehow get this over. So the sudden cutoff is 100. We were at like 130, I guess, for a little while. Now we're down to 101. And outbreaks. Okay, so I'm thinking that this case rate thing is basically a direct function of outbreaks. There's really not a huge difference in here. And these are all a direct function of amount of testing. So basically, you're getting positivity was dropping. They came out with these new things. It was like outbreaks was a couple weeks ago. Now we've got this. So I don't know. They kind of pulled this out of their butt. The other thing is, like, included in here in this case rate is not just people who tested positive, but people who got presumptive positive, which can be like 15 people per every one actual test, because it'll be everybody in their family, everybody's got the sniffles, I mean, it's just like ridiculous. Okay, so they've added this, and suddenly they've added it. We were already failing it. the minute they added it, because we were passing almost everything but the community outbreaks. And I guess you can't just have one thing that you're failing at, which is an obvious result of increased testing. You've got to have two things, so it looks more scary. Okay, now here's another thing they've added: syndromic, COVID-19 syndromic. So I'm like, what in the bleep is syndromic? So I looked that puppy up, and it's still kind of vague, but according to Wiki, syndromic surveillance is done based on the symptoms of an individual who corresponds to COVID-19. I mean, does this even a sentence? The symptoms of an individual who corresponds to COVID-19. I think it means which corresponds, or which is correlated, or which is similar to. Because how does an individual correspond to COVID-19? That's not even like an English sentence. As of March 2020, the WHO recommends the following case definitions. Okay, so from what I'm getting, syndromic surveillance is that they're surveilling everything that is sort of vaguely COVID-like. And since COVID-like is basically flu-like, syndromic surveillance is like flu-like illness surveillance. So anything that's flu. Okay. Okay, so if you have any acute respiratory illness, fever, etc., and a history of travel to residents in a location reporting community transmission of COVID-19 disease during the 14 days prior to symptom onset. So almost every location in the United States has had some kind of community transmission in the last 14 days. So basically, that is almost met for like almost everybody, unless you really live out in the boony lands. So then, assuming that that is met, like just one transmission, and then okay, then that means that a suspect case is anybody with a respiratory illness. Okay, so syndromic means anybody with a respiratory illness, or a patient with, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that covers all that. A probable case also is a syndromic surveillance. Confirmed cases, and then contacts, a person who experienced any of the following exposures. So if you have any upper respiratory illness, or you have been near a person during 2 days before and the 14 days after the onset of symptoms. So for the 14 days after, so for anybody you came in contact with a syndromic person, like someone has the flu, within 16 days after the before and after, face-to-face contact within 1 meter for more than 15 minutes, direct physical contact, and direct care, other situations as indicated by local risk assessments. Oh, so they can just basically what, make that up? I don't know. So this is going to be a heck of a lot of people if they're including, if you have the flu and it's like anybody who's been kind of near you for the last 16 days, all of these people are going to be included in syndromic surveillance. That's a lot of bleeping people. And you don't even have to know if this person had the COVID. I mean, if you look back into like past flu years, I mean, don't you meet somebody with the flu once every 2 weeks? I mean, this would practically be like everybody in San Diego County in a normal flu year would be syndromic. So there's a great way to get a lot of numbers on your ticket. Okay, so that's syndromic. Okay, so this is like total baloney, in my opinion. All right, and so you can kind of see now, hospital use is down. I'll scroll up there and show it. But it does see here increasing hospitalizations minus 7.4%. Deaths are down. All this other stuff's met. Positivity's down. Yet syndromic is up. And influenza-like illness apparently is also up. I don't know where you check that, but so even though like all the COVID stuff is down, the syndromic has managed to go up. Now, I'm thinking they've added this in here. And see, syndromic pretty much sounds like it's flu plus the C. And but then they also have the C, and then the flu like broke out. So it's like 2, 3, 4 ways to fail already. A lot of them are all wrapped together. Oh, the C, or you could fail the influenza, or you can fail the C plus influenza plus everybody who ever met anybody that of any of those people for 16 whole days. I mean, we're never going to pass all this crap. And community outbreaks are going to go up for a while as long as they increase testing. And then they've got this really low number, like 7. We can only have like 7 community outbreaks, and we've got 29. Even though all this other stuff's going down, because they've set that bar so that will like never pass. Because, I mean, if you count, because people have the flu even if they don't have the C. So even if the C never existed, and I don't know how much it does and doesn't, and I can only guess, but they basically made it so we'll never pass, is what I'm kind of trying to say. Okay, here's that funky case rate per 100,000 people. I'll just show you real quick. Confirmed C cases. Well, that's kind of stupid because they right here, this is makes me laugh. They close the bars and then suddenly you have 1 million cases. But it's probably just increased testing. But this is kind of a pattern we're seeing, that the minute they close down, everything goes to the roof. Confirmed C cases. You can see that was right. All right, so here is ICU beds. You can see it's trending down both in C cases and regular. This is somewhat trending down. This is overall hospital use. You can see the C cases are only a small percentage of the overall, though. That's the yellow cases. Okay, there's just the C cases, and that's regular hospitalizations versus ICUs. You can see it's down. But yet somehow we're still under lockdown. Woohoo! All right, so once they start with this kind of baloney, I mean, I don't see any way that we're ever going to not be under lockdown, because every time we pass one of the hurdles, like our positivity was up for a little while, but then it dropped. And so they just added like 5 or 6 more hurdles. One of the hurdles that they added, we were failing the minute that they added it, which was that cases per 100,000 people, which they just pulled out of thin air. Oh, you're failing this now. You have to be locked down. Okay. But in case I may sound like I'm complaining too much, we here have it way better than some other people, which I'm going to go over. The horrifying situation in Victoria, in case you haven't heard. My brother is a TV junkie, can't live without TV and news. He told me the other day he has had enough of this BS and is not going to watch news anymore. I am really in a different timeline. It's like, text is a bit small and blurry. Okay, yeah, sorry. Let me see if I can expand it a little. Well, it's too late. I already deleted it all. But, I basically said it all out loud. That is what you need to hear. I don't understand when it was decided that you didn't require undeniably extreme circumstances to warrant martial law tactics. Yeah, I'd like to know that too. And I guess it became decided when a bunch of people let it happen because they were scared of the sea. Because the news told them to be scared. Too scared, very scared. Okay, so... So, you poor suckers in Victoria, Australia. I don't know if you guys have really heard about Victoria, Australia. They really don't have that many official C cases. I haven't heard any problems in the hospitals. Jumping ship, our neighbor Tijuana. How are they doing COVID-wise? Okay, well... I don't actually have a direct line to TJ, but I do know somebody who goes over there and she hasn't seen anything. Like, it's just like, first of all, a lot fewer of the Mexicans are wearing the face mask. Some of them are, but a lot of them, from what I hear, there's a big old rumor that the C is like a CIA plot. So they're kind of blaming it on the American CIA. Um, and they're not taking it nearly as seriously. So that's one thing. I haven't heard about any actual hospital problems or anything. The TV has vaguely said it's there, but there's a couple bloggers and YouTubers that live in Mexico, and they've went to the hospitals, and guess what? They're empty, and the morgues are slow. So, doesn't look like a lot's going on. I live in Victoria, Australia. We are having a few more problems than usual. You mean like the freaking martial law? Because that's nasty. Um, okay, so Victoria, Australia, which is, if you don't know, it's Victoria's like a kind of a biggish chunk of Australia. It's like I guess it's like a state, which I guess you would compare it to. I don't know if they actually call it a state, but it's an area there. So they basically, this is my definition of martial law. They now have a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Unless you have a work permit to be out at that hour. You can only leave your house for 1 hour a day. That's including exercise, shopping, or anything else you want to do, unless you have a special work permit. If you organize a protest, you will be arrested. So even if you organize like 10 people or say, hey, let's meet over here, that's cause for an arrest. Cops do not need a warrant to kick in your door and arrest your butt anymore. They can just do it. And there's checkpoints everywhere. So basically, and I think there was something about you can't go more than 5 kilometers from your home unless you have a special work permit. So, yeah, that's basically martial law. I mean, and it's not like normal martial law, because when you hear about martial law, in the past, people are still allowed to walk around outside. I mean, they might have their head down and they might fear the police on the corner, but generally speaking, you're not actually having to stay in your house except for 1 hour a day. So it's worse than martial law. KDB, martial law came in 2 weeks ago. Yep, it's all true. That's horrible. I am so sorry for you guys. The police have all the powers of the military. Uh, you know, um, if it can happen in Australia, I mean, I hate to say it, but it can happen here. I mean, I don't really see what's stopping it. Um, Please let me be wrong. That's martial law. I mean, I actually can't. I'm trying to think of when there was um, a martial law even as extreme as you can only leave an hour a day. I mean, even during wartime and stuff, I mean, unless there were actively like bombs going off in the street and gunmen shooting down the street, people could at least go out, during the day. They might have to be back by 8 or 5 or whatever, but they could at least go out. I mean, there was no like 1 hour limit for going out. So it's actually more extreme than you traditionally even see in a martial law. Australia is a Commonwealth country. I can see Canada being next. I totally can see Canada being next. But then New Zealand, they have 4 cases, and I think that's the Auckland, that's the North Island. They had 4 cases, not 4 deaths, not 4 hospitalizations, just 4 cases. And then, how do you even know if those tests are even that accurate? But okay, so they got 4 cases, so they went under lockdown. 4 cases. All right, so New Zealand is definitely a candidate for baloney too. Definitely. I hate to say it, but in the United States, probably New York and California are, you know, they're prime candidates out of all of our states, unfortunately, because California is mine. So New York seems to be more Nazi-like, but not happy about that. There's one other crazy thing I wanted to look at. I'm so sorry for you guys in Victoria. I am just praying people wake up and we learn what we got to learn, and we can get through this, because this is just ridiculous. So I think we just have to concentrate on what we want to see, getting through, and the reality we want to see instead. Because remember, stuff can change just like psh, we've seen that. So no matter how bad it looks, it can just switch on a dime. I've definitely seen social things just in the last couple years. So no matter how bad it is, remember that anything can switch quickly. They started vaccinating volunteers in Abu Dhabi, and they are making a lot of ads on radio about it. Yeah, don't volunteer. New Zealand had 13 cases. That was 4 cases in the North Island, is what I heard. I mean, maybe they got a few more, but there might be a few more cases on the other side, too. Interesting, because I heard somebody refer to New Zealand as 3 islands. I've been really looking at that north end. It really looks like it's going to split into 3. So I'm really interested to hear somebody referring to it as 3. I thought it was still officially 2, but if you look, that third one is all, it's like 1 mile from being split. Yeah, sorry, I'm sure all of us will be first volunteers for the magic injections. Not. What will happen when Queen Elizabeth passes over? Will all states jump away from the royal family? Who is her? Yeah, well, that woman, maybe she'll be here for till she's 150. I don't know. I really don't. Q Cook Money's at work. Yeah. 3 islands, 1 more little island off the bottom. Are you serious? It's 3 islands now? Oh my god. How many islands in New Zealand? I swear, like just months ago, they were referring to it as a large number of islands. Well, yeah. Uh-oh. Don't. That really looks split there. Of course, now my computer freezes. I'm blaming it on New Zealand. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Oh, come on, it's not that hard to question, is it? It does kind of look like that top island split off, though. Seriously? Maybe I could try to delete it. Okay, so the trouble is if I close Firefox, I close everything. All right, I'll just have to come back. I think you should still get the OBS signal anyways. All right, so the last thing I saw, this one was actually last week. Reboot Firefox. I just rebooted the computer like an hour ago too. So, UK gives town councils power to bulldoze contaminated homes to contain outbreak. That is the title that I'm going to be digging up if I ever get Firefox to go. Not now. I should be able to restore session. Window 2, live streaming, restore session. Okay, so, oh look, it didn't, anyway. Dare I look at New Zealand again? can it be done? Just want to see if that, right around Auckland is where I've been watching the split too. Where am I on there? Right char. Come on. You see right there, this really is looking more like a separate island. So according to you guys, they're counting this little Poobah Island down here as the third island. That's interesting. Okay, that is getting larger, as most islands are. This hole between the two islands has gotten a lot larger. These were really close together before. You know, I keep looking at here thinking that this is going to carve off, but look, this is getting wider up in here. It was right about there. That's about 1 mile right there. So there's like 1 mile holding the top and bottom together. And if you really zoom in, I remember correctly, this actually goes in for a while. Let's see, look at satellite view here. This is one where I've been totally, well, not totally wrong, but I keep looking in here thinking that this is going to complete. Ooh, it's getting close. Oh, it is getting close. Nope, it's still 1 mile though. It's still 1 mile. I keep thinking this and this are going to close. I don't know what all this junk is. Cause oh, that's weird. You know, I looked at this like 6 months ago. This was not here. I do think it was here last time I looked at it. So I guess it could be like new, but let's see. Map data from 2020. I mean, did they add a bunch of stuff in here? So 1 mile. Yeah, it's still like 1 mile though. All right, so yeah, I've been. It's changed a little in there, but it really hasn't closed that 1 mile. All right, anyways, back to the story at hand. UK. Lives. Town. Councils. Power to bulldoze. See if Google can do two things at once. All right, so I saw this one, and it's ridiculous. So basically, town councils can bulldoze your home to stop second coronavirus wave. Care homes, factories, offices, and even private homes could be bulldozed. Quit it. Under powers to stop second coronavirus wave. And that's ridiculous because the sea cannot survive out of a human host for long. So even if you wanted to say that the sea could survive, like, say, 3 weeks, which I think is a huge stretch. There's no evidence that it can survive 3 weeks. But say it could survive 3-4 weeks. I think if you just, all you have to do is close all the doors. And I don't know if you're super paranoid, you could probably like tent it or put tape over the door in case any of those little cooties tried to crawl out under the door and go after people. Close the house up, close the facility up for 4 weeks, and there's not going to be any live sea in there because it can't live without a host. It's not like it's not a spore, it's not a fungal spore. So you close it up, all the cooties are dead, and then it's safe again. So this whole thing that they would be allowed to bulldoze your home is freaking ridiculous. I mean, that's just insanity, and it goes against all science. And it would be expensive. Just close the freaking doors and then open them up in 4 weeks. I mean, it's cheaper to shut the doors than hire a wrecking crew. And then what? You're going to bulldoze the home, and then all the cooties are going to spread all over the place, and they could get on the crew? Are they going to have to go in there in hazmat suits? I mean, for God's, this is totally insane. It's ridiculous. I mean, like, people are just. Psh. All right. Try not to freak out, but the stupidity, it's just hard for me to handle this level of asinine bullcrap that people aren't sitting here going. I mean, I have not heard one. I've heard people complain about these powers. I have not heard one person say, but it's useless. It's a useless waste of time. I mean, it's not like if you had a crack house and there were like toxic chemicals in there that you couldn't get rid of. It's just the virus can't live that long. Anyway, you get why I'm upset. Because it's this level of stupidity. Come on, people. See if I can find you guys. Speaking of stupid, open widget. Nope. Okay. Now I can't remember how to find you guys again. Public bore. Close. I thought that would do it. Alright, so what do I need? I need, no. Manage. That might be it. It's not manage? Alright, I suck. See, like, there's me, but where are you guys? Is it just going to open up on its own in a minute? No, see, I'm getting that thing. Which I'm sure is going to drop if I don't, like, figure out how to operate here. Settings. Insert stream marker. Settings? I don't think that's it. And you guys can't even tell me. Live chat. Nope. Because I can't see the chat. Edit? Nope, I already tried that. Alright. Didn't I like go through this once before and then figured it out? Except for now I can't remember what I did. I'm going to try this one then. Oh, now I might have made another stream. This is not you. Oh my god. Watch, it'll just jam after this. Oh, it is jammed. Is it seriously jammed? I think it is seriously jammed. All right, I'm going to get rid of this councils thing because any advertising is not helping any. Yes, I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm actually just about done complaining about world news. I appear to be totally stuck on getting out of here. I'll just try the back button. You know, I've clicked on that like 6 times and it doesn't get more of a better choice by doing it over and over again. Viewers, connection. Oh, I don't want to delete you. I want to edit. I think this was the solution I fell upon last time, was to go to classic streaming. I don't think I actually even found the way to... Stream now classic. Go to live control room. Get rid of local situation. All right, fingers crossed this is it. It's not, I'm back there again. It's not helping me. Go on. All right, let me try that one. Classic streaming. Is classic streaming like Stream Now Classic? You know, when I just learned how to do something and then they change it like that much, and the button that used to work now doesn't work. All right, so that button doesn't do anything now, apparently, or I'm stuck. Ooh, two of the same thing. All right, I'll close that one then. Let's try Events Classic, since we can't... It's the only thing I haven't clicked on. Live control room. Fingers crossed. I'm almost positive this button will work to get me there. Da-da-da-dum. There you are! It's a miracle! I don't think I've actually even figured that out. This is not going to last forever. This is classic version. We need a high vibes, blah, blah, blah. Can you click on live viewers? Probably if I saw it. I have managed to find you. Okay, so now that we have that genius bit done, okay, so we got some updates on some old MEs. One of them, I've been kind of watching the old herbivores turning into omnivores. And so last I checked, I don't remember pandas being on the list. So I was thinking pandas and koalas are two that weren't still eating just like only eucalyptus leaves, but pandas now eat rodents. I'm not 100% sure that these guys weren't on the list. 1% of their diet comprising other plants and even meat. So they used to be 100% bamboo. Did I say eucalyptus leaves? No, that's koalas. But now they've got 1% other stuff, including meat, and they eat this. There's kind of like rodents that live, pikas and other small rodents. So pandas now eat rodents. So I checked like yesterday, and koalas are the only one I have left that I'm sure as of yesterday they eat 100% bamboo, according to Google. So, is there anything else? Any other herbivores you can think of that are still completely herbivorous and don't eat rodents? Because horses, cows, goats. Pretty sure goats. Actually, I don't know if I've actually checked goats. I mean, they eat everything, so I would imagine that if everything else. While goats are generally good at avoiding foods they should not eat, their instincts are not infallible. So I'm pretty sure they're going to say that sometimes they eat rodents, because. Their instincts are not infallible. Goats are ruminant herbivores. Although goats are curious creatures and may nibble at meat they find, neither meat nor dairy is part of their caprine diet and should not be fed to goats. So they said they might nibble on meat. Goat. Let's see if they'll eat a rodent. Can goats help in rodent control? They eat the plants that the rodents like. Why goats feasting on rat urine makes sense. The Mandela and its titles of articles leave a lot to be desired. All right, I'm clicking on it. I might regret this. What is the stupid story about why goats eat rat urine? Goats that ate rat urine were actually healthier than those that didn't. The science behind why goats eat what we eat. Blah, blah, blah. Goats ate cakes of urine-soaked vegetation as a kind of antacid to diminish the ill effects of eating blackbrush. Rodent urine isn't usually part of a goat's diet, but the entire herd was soon munching on pack rat bathrooms. So apparently these goats knew that rat urine was good for poison control. All right, that's enough. Obviously, the Mandela can Mandela-splain just about anything. Okay, so they're not really targeting goats eating rodents, but they do say that they'll nibble on meat. So I'm calling that one as like they're that close. So far, then what's left that I know of only is koalas. Koalas are not eating any meat as of yesterday. I definitely remember they were bamboo only. Yeah, it was a big old deal that they were bamboo only. The breaking point with this stupid world was the flash mob trend around 2007. I actually didn't think that was that weird. I was a little worried about it, but not anymore because it's nothing compared to all the other stuff. Goats eat anything just like pigs. You know, they're actually making them sound less piggy than like horses, because horses now eat birds, rodents, and carcasses. Tree kangaroos. Okay, let's try it. Tree kangaroos are a Mandela for me already. They showed up a couple years ago. Eat. I guess I need the whole sentence. Leaves and fruit. Oh, they will also collect fruit that has fallen. Grains, flowers, sap, eggs, young birds, and bark. Okay, so they're definitely omnivores. They're like giant, fuzzy, colorful squirrel things anyway, so I can't say I'm too shocked. All right, anything else that you can think of that might actually still be an herbivore? Because rabbits are off the list. Those guys eat corpses now. Yeah, koala eat eucalyptus. And those still only eat eucalyptus. Those are the only ones. Sloths, that's a good guess. What do sloths eat? Are classed as herbivores, mainly leaves, but occasionally they will eat fruit. And they have been known to eat birds' eggs, lizards, and insects. Ugh. So once you get to birds' eggs, and other small prey, have been known to eat insects and other small prey. All right, so did they eat rodents? Rodents. Sometimes rodents and insects. Okay, all right, so nope, sloths are now slightly omnivores. I'm choosing to skip the carnivorous horse reality. Well, you've already got the cannibal horse reality. That's even worse than the carnivores. Deer. Well, I'm pretty sure those we've already checked. Deer eat rodents. I'm pretty sure we already saw that. The meat-eating habits of deer. There have been documented instances of deer eating squirrels and rabbits, although it is not known if it was deer that killed them. You think of these animals as grazers or browsers, but they occasionally eat some pretty weird stuff. Okay. It seems like all of the hooved animals are already snacking on meat. Has anybody seen a meat rock before? A meat rock. Cows and sheep and hippos all eat meat. Hippos eat like dead corpses of whatever, even other hippos. Now they do. Corpses of what? Rabbits? The horses will eat corpses of other corpses. I've had that, or of other horses. I've had that on. In Australia, they were found eating a dead horse. Horses were eating their dead brethren. Damascus goats have been on Tronite. Yes, they were one of my early extra creepy Mandela animals. Yes. So, yeah, those are some ugly guys. So, yeah, cows and sheep, those will definitely eat rodents. Those have been checked. I'll have to check on this meat rock thing. I'm not sure what that is. No way do hippos eat corpses. I saw this one on TV. Hippo scene, eating hippo and more cannibals. I saw this one on TV, so it was extra gross. And usually by the time it makes it to the mainstream television, it is a pretty well established Mandela. And you do not forget the image of a hippo eating a bloated corpse of another hippo. Yes, it is gross. No, they don't have the image on, but yes, they do. A hippo feeds on the... Okay, so this is a dead corpse in here. Hippo feeds on the decaying corpse of another in Kruger National Park. Yeah, I've seen them eat like alligator and stuff. Also, they've got two really weird, funky teeth. Somebody else found that one now that like stick out. Really weird. So yeah, hippos are off the list. Let's see if I can find those freaking teeth. Doink. This one might show it. It's big enough. So they have these two teeth right here. These two teeth. See if this will get big enough. That just kind of stick straight out. Those are really strange. So yeah, they definitely eat meat. Buzzards are corpses. Yeah, everything eats corpses now. Jasper is a type of geologic rock. Yeah, I know that one. Llamas. You need to see Isaiah 11:8. See if I can. This one's getting worse. Oh my god. Oh, it's and the sucking child. Now that was suckling child before. Suckling child. Now it's sucking child. Interesting. And the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. I don't remember this hand part. Yeah, I mean, this has been changing to be more and more weirdly double entendre. I swear this was suckling child last I checked, and I don't remember the weaned child being in there. Shall put his hand. I do remember there's something about a cockatrice in here, but I don't remember a weaned child. They shall not hurt nor destroy it on my holy mountain, for the earth shall be blah blah blah. And then, actually, it was only that one I looked at. So this one's changed recently then, because it's added weaned child. Interesting. Dang, it keeps changing, so it's hard to remember the original anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, I agree with you. They've added a weaned child in there. All right, let's look at this meat rock thing. Meat rock. Oh, okay. That's kind of old for me. This is a thing that the rock hounds do. You look for rocks that look like food, and sometimes we'll carve them, like we'll polish them so they look more like food. Like you could take like a little green rocks that are about the right color, and then make little tiny spheres out of them and lay them all out, and then that will be like peas, right? Like PEAS. And they'll put a whole bunch of these little mini spheres the size of peas if you can find the rock that's the right color. And then you'll look for, like, say, a yellowish rock and kind of carve it or shape it so it looks like a thing of butter. And then they would put them in a bowl with, the peas with a little stick of butter on the top. And then bacon rocks are pretty popular. Meat rocks are the new valuable. I mean, I'm assuming that this is what we're talking about. Chinese collectors go crazy for rocks that look like meat. I actually have some meat rocks. I've got these slices that look a lot like bacon. It is basically, there was a flat rock, and it had like white and then like kind of like that orangey brown color that bacon is. And so those are my bacon rocks. Just slice them long ways. It does appear to be a historical root to the recent meat rock craze. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if this is gonna, like, so we start with this meme of the meat rocks. I wonder if we're gonna see something in reality that starts that comes after this, because it just seems like all the memes now and the viral, especially the wacky and stupider ones, are like a precursor. So yeah, Actually, my meat rocks look probably a little more meaty than these things. I'm not super impressed with these, to be honest. But yeah, I go to a lot of rock shows, and that's one of the favorite displays. Is the old timers slowly create like whole tables worth of food that is all just made out of stones, and you're not allowed to dye the stones. They have to be their original color, but you can shape them. Meat shaped stone and jadeite cabbage. Let's see. So yeah, take some jade. That's a pretty good one right there. That does look like some kind of cake with some kind of glaze on it. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm not as impressed by that one. You're not fooling anybody with that one. But you get the picture. This one would be considered really good quality meat or food rock. Anything that you would put in the plate and like at first glance it actually looks like food would get the nod. Okay, so like this one's pretty good. If it ever loads. Chicken, not too bad. It looks like it uncooked something. Some kind of meat. Now we've seen these things. Mandela from a couple years ago. Some kind of critter that like packs on sand and stuff on its outer self. All right, well, anyway, you get the picture. It's not really Emmy related, but keep an eye on that one. See where it goes. Meat rock is a jasper. Meat rock can be anything that looks like a piece of meat, but a lot of times it is a jasper because jasper often comes in like white with a kind of brownish marbling kind of wavy patterns. So they're like a very good candidate to just happen to look like meat. Fizzy showed a delicacy on Scarab's show last night that looks like a rock, but was an organic collection of organs from the ocean. Organs from the ocean. I'm not sure what that is. Organs are usually inside some kind of creature, though, so I wouldn't really... Organisms, maybe, from the ocean? Petrified flesh? Rain bombs or microbursts. Yeah, I've covered those in the past. They're getting more ridiculous. You can have like sudden downdrafts of 60-mile-per-hour winds. It raining in just a 5-foot area. All kinds of ridiculous stupidness. Why can't we have fantastic angelic bodies that are not like meat and not like robots? Some elements that doesn't exist on Earth. Well, maybe we can eventually. I mean, there's a lot of predictions that those of us that hopefully I'll be in there make it to the 1,000 years of peace or whatever paradigm is described will eventually have like light bodies. So yeah, maybe. I think we have to get rid of a lot of our negativity and stuff yet, though. I don't think we're pure enough. Just my personal opinion. I was also watching Braveheart, and his half-painted face is only a quarter of Mel Gibson's face is painted blue now. I'm not sure it was split down the middle of his face. Okay, Braveheart painted face. Unfortunately, it has been quite some time. Oh, no, that's not how it was. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, yeah, no. It's funny how you look at it and you're like, yeah, no. I agree with you. I believe that it was half. It sure as heck was not this. thing. Not a very good image. Bigger. All right, you get the drift. Yeah, no. It kind of, it looks very like clownish now. It just doesn't look half as cool. Ooh, look. I think I see some residue. Oh no, wait, there's some on the side over here. That was close, but no cigarinos. Wonder if there is any residue. Braveheart costume. I haven't looked at this in a long time, so it could be like a really old ME that I'm just noticing. Ooh, look. Okay, let's see. Does she have... This is interesting because a lot of these costumes have it almost down the middle like we remember it, but then they're squeezing in a little blue on the corner. It's like they're sneaking it in. Oh, I don't see any clear residue on this one. What this one? This might be the close. Nope, there's still some squeezed in on the side. Some blue has been added. It's interesting though, because a lot of the costumes do not have that side blue zagging over like the actual movie now had. It's way over the side. Suspiciously like we remember it before, or at least I do. And yes, I do agree that this is not right. Not finding any residue though. Dope. Let's see. We'll try one more thing. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Either there's residue or there's not. Braveheart 2. Alright, this one might be close. This might be very close. Temporary tattoo sticker. This is definitely kind of a half and half motif going on, but it's different enough that the Mandela might have missed it. That might be the closest one. So yeah, I agree. I'll agree with you on that one. Parallels between mud floods and MEs. See if I can find it. Oh, meat rock is an animal. Okay. Yeah, that's that thing that you cut it open. It's all meaty inside. Yes, that's an older ME from like, it's like some kind of a tide pool sponge thing or ocean sponge thing. Yeah, that's an older ME like 2, 3, 4 years ago. South Park details. Oh, I just did not know South Park that well that I knew specific lines. Okay, so the mud flood thing, one that showed up like 2 years ago, suddenly it was everywhere. Nobody ever heard of it. And now it goes much further back in time, so that's sneaking back in time. I think it's Mandela related, especially because it snuck back in time. I've also covered before that some buildings that I have noticed Mandelas on, those buildings have changed to fit the mud flood story better. So I find that really interesting. I've covered that before, like Palace of Fine Arts. I used to go there all the time, and it changed. At first I noticed the change, and then suddenly it was involved in the mud flood story, and the changes now match the mud flood story. The old version that I remember did not match the mud flood story. It's interesting how other people might notice the change but name them something else. What ME called Old Earth, Mud Floods call New World, and New Earth is Old World. There's other things like I've seen some of the flat earthers notice that the stars look funny, and that like some of them are too bright, and so they're blaming it on atmospheric changes. They're not saying it's, not all of them are, but I've definitely heard that one. We say it's a Mandela, that star wasn't there before, and they're saying, oh, the atmosphere must have changed because it looks fishy. That meat rock animal is totally new to Shari. Really? Yeah, that one's kind of an older one for me. Maybe I'm an old timer in this timeline. Antiquitech, what might show the change in how science. Yeah, I'm just starting to hear this Antiquitech terminology flopping around the last few months. And it's so how did this is the mud flood storyline. First there was the mud flood fossils, and they were basically saying like these very large mountains or the theory was they look like fossilized trees, but 100 times too much larger, and maybe they really were 100 times larger trees. And maybe that mountain range that's shaped like a dragon really is a fossilized dragon. It seemed quite the stretch at the time for me. I'm still not on board with that. But then there started to be this story that there was like, in history, there was mud floods that buried a bunch of buildings. So the buildings have their lower floors buried. So then we're looking around at older buildings. And that was all there was to it. I kept looking into it, and they just said, well, this happened in like the 18-somethings probably. And I actually looked for everything I could find on it, like if there was any buildings like that in my area so I could check them out. But we didn't have buildings old enough. But then the next thing I know, the story is that buildings that are really old have been relabeled so that we claim that we built them, but really they're from an ancient time. Okay, so suddenly now we do have buildings around here. John Levi. So we do have buildings around here that fit that bill and quite well. And if I ever get off my butt and drive down there, I'll check some of them out. Because there's some things I want to look for in those buildings. But we do definitely have a slew of Tartaria buildings at Balboa Park. But the story has been like rapidly advancing because now we've got this whole civilization that preceded us. I mean, this is the theory. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's changing to match this story, so it could turn out to be true. So the story then is that there was some kind of race of giants that preceded us, and they built these buildings, and that's why all the doors are very high, and then for some reason they got wiped out, or they got their butt kicked, or they had to leave, or whatever. And there was some kind of a mud flood that buried them. And then we dug them all out. And then we claimed that we built them. But we're a big bunch of liars, or at least our ancestors were, because all they did was clean them up. Tartaria also, yeah, and that's another thing, because we noticed this concept of Tartaria on Reddit just before the mud floods thing kicked off. Where like people are like, "What's this civilization called Tartaria? I've never seen this before." And like other Russians, even some of the other Russians on the subreddit had not heard of this Tartaria. Now we'd heard of Tartars as just like a small region in Russia, but not as like a giant empire. And the Tartars now, I guess, are often called Tatars, so that's totally changed. So first the Tartars became this giant Tartaria, and then there was this mud flood theory that suddenly fit with the Tartaria. So you can see how these Mandelas are the leading edge of these conspiracy theories. So I'm not sure what to make of it other than, maybe that's going to be our new reality. First the evidence shows, then the theory shows, and now the theory matches the evidence, and Tartars and now Barbars seem to have been fighting for freedom. Barbars? Barbars. Is that, I guess they're going to say that's where the word barbarian came from? The Barbars? It seems like Dr. Seuss is writing this stuff, doesn't it? I got a ton of mud fossils and stone rocks that are footprints and foots with toes. Khazars are the Tartars, but I think they're Tatars now instead of Tartars. It's hard to keep up because when this thing first showed, it was Tartari, and now it's Tartaria. So the terminology keeps changing very quickly. All right, so we have not got much done so far on the list. I found a Uperlite, whatever it's called. Wait, what were those things again? Were those glow-in-the-dark things? I think they were. Okay, so... This might have been on, but I don't remember it being this extreme. I just remember a couple heads stacked up, but now we've got, like, a lot more heads. So, this caterpillar, every time it molts, it saves its old head so that it ends up with a stack of heads. So, like, when it was tiny, it molted once and then got a new skin, and then the skin from the old head stayed. And then each head gets bigger because it's bigger when it molts. And there was some kind of yammer about maybe it would distract the predators or something. I don't remember there being that many heads on these things. The other thing I've seen it, they're referring to the outer body of the caterpillar as the exoskeleton. I've never heard of a caterpillars having an exoskeleton because exo means like outside, and then skeleton. I've actually never heard of caterpillars that molt. I mean, they just were like, they would just grow, and then be bigger. But now they've got this whole exoskeleton molting, head collecting thing, and these are called the Mad Hatterpillar or Uraba lugans. And Mark Tyus found these ones, so good find. I think I might have had them on before, but they're just kind of gotten more extreme. Look at all them heads. There's a big stack of heads. Okay, so yeah, the Mad Hatterpillar. All right, now I have had the fat-tailed sheep on here before, but if you guys remember the last time, look at what the fat-tailed sheep look like now, because they just kind of had kind of a fat butt before. And so, yeah, well, so some sheep have a fat butt. Well, now fat-tailed sheep, okay, so they can have, like, this is like so ridiculous, the fattest butt you have ever seen. I mean, look at that, look at the butt, or the tail. I can't, they say that they have either a large butt or a large tail. First of all, I don't remember sheep having any more than a little poobie tail, but this tail is just disgusting. Now this is the image I had on before, but I swear this butt has gotten bigger since the time I had it on. There was nothing like this with this big a butt. It looks like an ostrich with 4 legs. I definitely would have had this one as my title image instead of just that one. If any of these, I usually spend a goodly amount of time looking for what's going to be the thumbnail. And I mean, there's no way I would not use like something like this or something like this, a way bigger butt, or something like this versus one with just a little bit of a butt. Like these are more like what I had on last time. But now we have like this. I mean, there's no way I wouldn't have put that on. Fat tails. So yeah, these guys have been busy. And there was no like naked butts either. So apparently now they have naked butts sometimes. Sometimes they just look like these giant tumors with a tail. So basically any disgusting thing you can imagine. The world's fattest actual tail, kind of. Look at that. I mean, none of these bigger butts were available when I looked a couple months ago. Fat-tailed sheep. I think there's some funky word they're using for him now too. Some more. Look at that one's tail. That's ridiculous. Yep. Some of them, I saw one, it looks like it has a mutant extra foot, and that's the tail for some of these. Look at that one, it's all like a snail. It goes around and then it's back up, and then I'm like, these things are really getting to be nasty looking. Alright, so this is supposed to be a sheep with a fat tail, and it looks more like a horse or something in that drawing. So these are they're gross now. Really gross. Let me see if I can find that one. There was one that had this funny zigzaggy fat tail thing, and it looked like it had a third leg sticking out. Here's another creepy one. What's up, man? So there's not a lot of consistency to these fat tail things either. I mean, like that one has this weird zigzaggy thing going on. Some of them look all plushy, like they're like a Pomeranian. Some of them look like their butt fell off. This one looks like a snail. Some of them just look like human butts. Most of them have fur, but some are missing some fur. These were one of the ones that I thought had like, they look like they have little dinosaur tails or something. So I guess just about any super creepy shape you can imagine can now come off the butt of a fat-tailed sheep. All right, here's some more partially naked tails. It's just like tumor. They look like they've got tumors on. They look like tumor-laden things. All right, now that's got really weird head coloration and kind of plushy looking one. Here's another tumor looking one. I feel like there's something going to come out of this fat-tailed, the extent that it's coming to pass. I'm not looking forward to where it goes, but I don't think we've heard the end of this creepiferousness here. So this one has a giant tumorous one and then a sticky tail thing too. Another drawing. I mean, what's that? That looks like some kind of Persian cat butt. I've said before that these fronts on these on cows were creeping me out. So what we got them on sheep now. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be sheep. It's getting harder and harder to tell. Weird sheep breeds. Yeah, look, they're getting these funny chest bulges just like the cows are. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a sheep. I'm gonna have to look and see what that structure even is that's in the front there. Just did not have these Persian. See, that's a sheep too. Look, okay, so it's got the fat tail, funny hair, funny head color. the fur is not very sheepy. Maybe it's sheared. But then you've got this bulge. It's getting really hard to tell different animals. Um, there's so much variation within the same animal now that when you see an animal, you're like, is that a sheep? Because it's very hard to tell. I don't know what to say, but ew. What's the uses of the heads of the caterpillar? I think that the Emmy just likes to make weird stuff, and then later, it coughs up some kind of baloney rationale, like, oh, it attracts females or something. There are good evidence that Tartarians mastered the free energy and lost control of it. That's why they were reset. I don't know about good evidence. I've definitely heard theory. I wouldn't say there's good evidence. I've seen some antennas and some mysterious looking machines, but I think it's a leap to go to, and they had mastered all this and then they were punished for it. I mean, that's a pretty big jump. Let's see. And some say that the same thing happened way before that, which left humans with the infrastructure of the giants and with only children being left and very little adults. Child labor was a given. See, I mean, like, where does this stuff come from? Child labor was a given. Why was it a given? I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't have happened, but why would it be a given? One thing I was wondering is, I mean, a storyline that could make a kind of sense would be if the atmosphere changed. And perhaps larger humanoids no longer could respirate effectively enough to keep themselves healthy. Maybe the oxygen level dropped or something, and they didn't have big enough or efficient enough lungs compared to body size, and they bit the big one for that. I mean, that's one thing that I could see maybe separating the giants from the humans, but just wild speculation. But these weird storylines, they start as fantasy, and a lot of them are coming true now. So when I see something take off as a meme, no matter how wacky it is, I try not to totally deny it. Just keep an eye on it, see what happens. Tartarians started, let's see, as free energy, as good, and use it as a weapon, and were punished. And I mean, how do you know all that? I mean, I don't see where we get to that level of specificity with the data I've seen on, like, John Levi's channel. Started with free energy is good and made it a weapon. Sadly, the same for nuclear use. That's why probably will be reset and maybe erased too. I don't think we're going to get erased. I don't think that the real humans on this planet that are basically good-hearted are going to get erased. I don't think so. Maybe there's a timeline where a bunch of people get on there and get erased, but I don't think it's going to be like all humans in every timeline. Yes, I dug up some fossils, and some were right on the top of the soil. Vampire Slayer says, did you use a metal detector? Yeah, you can't use metal detectors for fossils usually. Metal detectors only work for metal, so usually that's just meteorites. Fossils, you just dig them and use your eyeballs. There are rare cases when fossils gets fossilized with metal, but then there's going to be metal all over the area. So then again, the metal detector usually is not much help. Basically, if you have an area without much metal, except for meteorites, that's good. But even so, you keep finding nails and other crap. So The official story is back then the levels of oxygen were much higher, and that would also explain the giant humans. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely heard that story um, when I was younger, so that's part of what kind of um, filtered that into my mind. Tartarians did the star forts. Well, that's the theory. Star forts are a big fat Mandela for many people. At least they were a few years ago. See another example of something that kind of showed up as a Mandela, and then suddenly it was part of some conspiracy theory. Okay, got that. Okay, another one. This is only slightly Mandela related. So this Starlink thing, I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but Elon Musk apparently has already shot up these strings of satellites. So they're like, they look like bead, like pearls on a necklace. They're just like, and they go across the night. And this is kind of a Mandela for me, because first suddenly meant Elon Musk is like all that in a bag of chips, like out of nowhere, and all in the Tesla cars suddenly are all that in a bag of chips out of nowhere. And then I have said before that krypton as a metal is a Mandela for me. That stuff used to only be like in Superman. Okay, kryptonite was a made up stuff. They made that word up to be the name of the stuff that makes Superman weak. But suddenly now we have Krypton. Krypton is like, I think it's an element now, isn't it? Krypton. So it's real. I mean, it doesn't like glow green like on the movies, but it's a real thing now. Krypton is chemical element with the symbol Kr. No, it was not. That they used that word because it wasn't used already, but now it is. Colorless, tasteless, odorless, noble gas. Okay, so for me, Krypton is a Mandela for sure, for sure. And I did study like the periodic table and stuff in school, and there was no freaking way that Krypton was on it. So this these satellites that Elon Musk shot up are supposedly operating with a krypton-powered ion thruster. Sounds like science fiction, but ion thrusters have actually been around for decades. Of course they have. They use a charge, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I was watching some shows on YouTube, and one of the things that they were saying was that, like, scientists supposedly don't really get how a krypton ion drive could really power these satellites because it's so weak. The drive was very weak, even though it's been around for decades, according to current timeline. Elon Musk has been extremely tight-lipped about the Starlink satellites, only dropping a few hints in there before the launch. Each satellite weighs 500 pounds and are a flat panel design that maximize the amount that can fit in each payload. So they've got all these strings, okay, and supposedly the storyline is that he's going to make like global internet out of, he's going to launch these things and then make a whole webbing, and they're going to like talk to each other via lasers so that there'll be a whole network, communication network, and even if you're like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you would be able to access these things, okay? But there's a bunch of weirdness because not only did it suddenly was like up there already and I never even freaking heard of it, the other weirdness is no actual humans that I know that are humans, like say like Scott Harrison, or some of the globe people, like, or the flat earth people who actually have tried to see these freaking Starlinks, have had much luck. They've seen a little bitty glowy thingle here and there, but nobody has seen them all bright and shiny like you see on the internet, even when the Starlink tracker predicts really good visibility. Nobody I know has actually seen them look like this string of really bright lights that supposedly they can look like. And nobody can figure out, like, there's the tracker who that like guesses when will be the brightest viewings, but even people using the tracker have not been able to figure out why they can't see like this all bright and spectaculoso. So that I find is a little suspicious. I mean, is this a Mandela reality that's growing, and that's why we can't see it all bright and shiny yet for us real humans, and it only exists online? And then you count that. So supposedly the final linky thing is they're gonna communicate with each other using lasers. Yet everybody's saying that all the Starlink satellites up so far don't have any lasers on them. So how are they? What are they for then? I mean, how are they going to fit into here if they can't communicate because they don't have any lasers? So that's really weird. And I mean, like, you're not going to put like string after string of expensive satellites up in the air and not have lasers, and then actually need them to all have lasers to actually work. I mean, you wouldn't keep testing. I mean, it makes no sense, okay? So and then he's all tight-lipped about it. So there's got to be some kind of plan that does not require them to have lasers. Who knows if this is even for internet? In fact, he's even come out and said that it really won't help internet much on like populated areas. It'll only really make a difference out in the ocean and in unpopulated areas. And there's like, where's the money in that? I don't see any. If you can't get like all the populated areas to love you because you're way better. So, I mean, none of it makes any sense. This whole Starlink thing is just whack doodle poodle. Yeah, so experts don't know how it will work. What he's done doesn't match with what he says he's trying to do. Nobody's freaking seen the things very well at all like they show online. What up with that? You know, not to mention he's the guy who wants to put a chip in your brain. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Not in this wacky, crazy timeline. Bunch of drones. Even so, what are they up there for? Something's going to happen. There's going to be some stuff coming down with that. I mean, there's no way. There's like there's 100 giant juicy stories that I could think of for this Starlink baloney. If you remove nitrogen and the oxygen and carbon dioxide are the same, the humans could be as big as some of the smaller oversized doors from the historical mud flood buildings. You know what? I mean, that storyline that there used to be way more oxygen has stayed the same, but the actual amount of oxygen that a lot of us remember has gone way down. I mean, like, I remember it being like 30% oxygen or something. What is the percent now? Atmosphere. So yeah, keep a sharp eye on the Starlink baloney. It's kind of slipping under the wire. All right, 21% now. I remember it more like 35%, and hardly any nitrogen, and then a bunch of carbon dioxide. So for me, the oxygen's gone way down. So I think it's just a story. I mean, I don't know what I'm breathing. I just have their word for it. But then I don't think I've shrunk any. Even though we had more oxygen before. So, you know, I am sure that nature could find a way to get oxygen to a big old fat, stinky, extra tall human. I've just seen too much whack-doodle stuff I think it's basically that there's going to be some crazy story, but to justify, to make it logical sounding, but I pretty much think everything's kind of like Mandela-splaining at this point. All right, we already covered that, so I'm like half done. Whoa, it's only been an hour and 37 minutes. Okay, this is one I was going to cover last time by Official Nutmeg Channel. And I was saying, do you notice anything weird about your forehead? And I had mentioned it last week, and then I never really covered it. But basically, I do notice that there's like two kind of bumps here that I don't remember. And I also noticed the eyebrows, at least on myself, look a little more like there's like more bone under them, almost like a little bit of a like a Neanderthal look or something. All human. And I was looking on the skulls, like real human skulls, and I'm seeing some of that on here also. Excuse me. At least on some of these skulls, you can kind of see like two little bumps. It's kind of like here and here. See if we can get a front view out of this thing. Does not look good. Alright, let's just go to another one. You can almost see there's kind of a, like in here and here, there's kind of a tendency towards like a bump right here, right here. It kind of looks like they're, see if I can, here shows it really good, like right in here. So yeah, I think so. Just subtle, but it just seems like something's going on right up in there, just a little bit. Kind of keep an eye on there. Your forehead would be right in there. Keep an eye on those. All right, next one. Can't remember what that thing is called again. That Vatican statue. No, not that one. This thing, the resurrection. Probably most of you have seen this thing by now. Creepy as all forget. But it keeps changing, and I've covered this one before. My foot stuck here. So it's so sneaky because I did have this image here kind of saved of the head of Jesus that's on this. But what I've noticed just lately is Jesus's head itself. Okay, I don't remember, first, the last time I said I don't remember his hair flying out to look like a giant, like, snake head. But now you can see his beard, part of his neck and his shoulder are getting, like, they're eaten away, like they're mutated now. And that has changed. That wasn't, Jesus was not like, I don't know, what do you want to call that? Like, mutated. So this statue, it just gets bigger, creepier, grosser, by the month. Okay, so I don't know if any of it hasn't seen this. This is supposed to be in the Vatican, and the Pope sits right here. Okay, so when I first saw this, it was a lot of sticks, and then the Jesus was sort of like, right? Okay, so over time, the sticks have kind of gone away, and now there's these disgusting blobby things. And I've tried to get close up of it. I was thinking maybe they've got like kind of fingery looking things, and I don't know what the F they are. I tried to get a close up, like right here looks like a face or something, but I couldn't get a close up of any of these disgusting blobby looking things, because it used to be all sticks. Now it's like 2/3 of these disgusting blobby things. Last time I did notice this clothing flying off like a bat wing, but I did not notice this one that looks like a freaking tentacle. So that's new, this tentacle clothing. So yeah, 2/3 blobs now. So at first there was just a few sticks, then there was a lot of sticks, then there's more and more sticks. The other thing is I noticed the statue itself was getting like bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, so then the blobs are replacing the sticks, and the tentacle thing, and Jesus is getting like he looks really skinny and like I don't know, like the body is not quite right. And now he's getting like his shoulders getting eaten away and stuff. So this is a creepy, gross statue to be behind like the Pope. This is like ridiculous. So it's supposed to represent like a nuclear blast or something, but I mean seriously, I mean it's just this giant Mandela because it just keeps changing. And I'm just waiting to see what these blob things turn into. Are they going to be like heads or something? Um, I mean, honestly, it was always creepy, but it's gotten like 3 times creepier. So a lot of people say, and you can totally see it, that if you look at it, this looks like a snake head with the mouth here instead of just being the hair of Jesus. And you can, it's totally easy to see it that way too. So there's just like so much creepy symbology in this thing, and it keeps changing and getting grosser. Ugh, it's ridiculous. I think there's a little depiction of it there, just so you can get an idea of it. So yeah, big fat Mandela there. Close that one. We're in the Diana Ross song, Upside Down. Yeah, upside down and backwards. Like everything is backwards. What's that word they used in 1984? I think it's called newspeak, was the word. So basically newspeak is like everything is backwards. So they'll like war is peace would be the saying. You know, we're going to go to war so that we can have peace. Um, you know, that's a really good example, but it just seems like the news is getting like that now. Like it's news speak, and you're supposed to accept this propaganda, like these reversals, these opposites. If they're saying it's going extinct, in reality, you're getting more of them. If they say it's for your safety, in reality, it's for your enslavement. Take a tour of the Vatican and you'll never see so many snakes and dragons anywhere. Yeah, can't say I've taken a tour of the Vatican. Dinosaurs were called dragons in medieval times. All right, so we got that one coming along. All right, so you guys remember the Manhattan Project? That's the U.S. government project to make the bombs that got dropped on Japan. So this one is from Shari D. This is the part I don't remember. I don't remember the Manhattan Project being both British and Canadian as well as American. I just remember it being a totally top secret American project, like top secret. And it did not involve Britain and freaking Canada. That's ridiculousness. So apparently now, like the British planes almost were used to drop the bombs. On the last second, we got our stuff together and we could use our planes. It was led by the United States with the support of the United Kingdom and Canada. No. I mean, it's kind of a small thing, but no. It was Americano. Okay. So kind of a small thing, but all right. Then I saw a leopard on Reddit the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute. Some colors have changed on Mr. Leopard. This one shows it pretty good. So they're all getting this collar thing. Now, I've mentioned before that my actual little bitty domestic house cat has really developed a huge ring collar on his neck of coloration. So now these leopards are getting it. Didn't used to have that ring collar. Also, a lot of dogs are getting this now. Didn't used to have that. So they're getting like these, I don't know, it's kind of trippy. There's not a ton of imagery you could really see it, but see here, he's getting it. This guy's working on it, although it's not as much as some of the other guys. So, yeah, okay, and then when I was looking for that one, I saw this one. Now, when clouded leopards first came in, they had a pattern like this on their whole body, but now they've got these long, funky pattern ones over here, and then they've got like spots, like ordinary spots on the legs, and then this pattern here reverses. So they're like way more complicated now. They're even more cool looking than they were, and there's a lot more variation in them too. So I think there's 3 kinds of them now. There was just the one rare, almost never seen one, and we finally got a video of it. Now we've got this one, which suddenly showed up for Mosin, and there was like a 3rd one. Arabian. Was that one of them? I think. So yeah, now we've got all these styles of, we've got like suddenly 3 styles of clouded leopard. They're very cool. And that probably accounts for why suddenly they have these different patterns, because they've split, and each one has like a certain style now. All right. Okay, we've got 2 left. Let me see what you're up to. Double speak. Yeah, that might have been it. Double speak. Double speak. Double speak is war is peace. That's double speak. I thought there was something called news speak though, wasn't there? News speak. Or was that just the words that you had to use on the news? News speak. Fictional language of Oceania, totalitarian, not Tartarian, totalitarian superstate, the settling of. Okay, so news speak was just certain words that you had to use, and double speak was when they said war is peace, and like opposites like that. Okay, got it. So yeah, double speak. There's a ton of that now. Just watch the whole concepts. It's good to listen and see what they tell you to do, so you know what not to do. Yep. Whenever something becomes a sacred cow, don't trust it anymore, because real theories and real science are a back and forth conversation. So the minute you can't question something, within reason. I mean, like, yeah, you can't like take a knife and just randomly kill people. Okay, there's not a lot of questioning going into that. But the minute you can't question, like, I was even kind of thinking global warming was a fairly valid theory. But the minute global warming became something you couldn't even question because now you're a complete moron, then I started to get distrustful. The same with the masks and this other stuff. You should always be able to have a back and forth. The minute something becomes a theory, becomes a sacred cow, there's a problem. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. Yes, exactly. I couldn't think of the other ones all of a sudden because they're all so stupid. Yeah. You have the freedom to wear a mask and sit down and shut the F up. That's your freedom. Ignorance is strength. Yeah, there's a lot of glorification of ignorance that I see more often. Like don't think too hard. Now you're just a. It's kind of like Idiocracy, that comedy show, but it's like, don't be intellectual, don't think too hard. That's uncool, um, kind of a thing. And you're seeing that more and more in politics with the soundbite, but even worse. Uh, Better to be one of the common men. Instead of encouraging the common man to think more, we're going to encourage him to think less. And then be prideful about that. Be proud of your ignorance. I'm not a complete moron. Some parts are still missing. Haha. Yep, I think I can understand that one. Part behind the ear. I have a feel for that spot behind the ear that often hurt from wearing glasses, rubbing on it. It's gone now. Uh, I didn't wear glasses, so I'm not sure on that one. Proof they want to wipe us out. I don't think they want to wipe us out, because that would be just easy. They could have wiped us out if it was really that simple. So I think there's more going on. I think they're after hearts and minds, maybe some kind of spiritual, energetic thing, to get you to compromise your spirituality and your the good part of yourself. Because, I mean, killing's easy. They could just poison the water and we'd all be dead. Or they could they could release a virus and they only had the antidote and the rest of us died. I mean, it would be easy. What are you going to eat if you couldn't trust the food that was at the grocery store? Most people die out right there. I hear a real virus is coming after the fake one. I don't think so, because why even bother with the fake one? Just go straight for the real one, though. And they're still milking this one, even stupider than ever. I mean, I can't discount anything, but I think the way they're playing it out, there would be no reason to do a fake one before the real one. Just go for the real one. About money, why can't send any money on other streets? I thought I fixed that. Okay. I'm gonna have to see what's wrong with Super Chat, because I did verify my Google AdSense account this week, which was kind of this hoops I had to jump through, and it should be on. So if it's still not on, I'll have to see what's going on now. All right, so this timeline likes teeth. When Oceania became real, I said, here comes 1984. I didn't think that way, but it wasn't a bad concept, although it's definitely an unpleasant one. Okay, so whale sharks. Where do they have teeth now? If you haven't seen the article, if you have seen it, no cheating. But all right, so let's say that the teeth are not like in the mouth region where teeth normally are. Where have teeth showed up on this whale shark? And it's not like any pornographic area either. Just so you don't get too carried away. Where have teeth shown up on the whale shark? Can you guess? Teeth. This timeline loves its teeth. Bubonic plague in China. You know what? Bubonic plague is like in the animal populations in quite a number of places in the world in this timeline. It was wiped out in my old timeline. All of those, bubonic, the black plague, hemorrhagic fever, all that stuff was gone. It just had burnt itself out. Okay, where do they have teeth? Okay, so Shari's guessing it's on their back. Cupid guesses the skin. Vampire Slayer guesses baleen. Kyokugmani guesses fins. Tronite says, I swam with whale sharks. I should know this. It's not in the. Yeah, I said it wasn't pornographic, so it's not there, little itty bitty pity show. I figure, I'm like, you know what? People are going to go straight to that, knowing how this timeline is. But yeah, it's not. That's why I said it's not pornographic. Okay, Tronite's guessing fins. It's it's ridiculous enough that I didn't really think you would be able to guess, because I don't think I would have been able to guess, and I just belly. You're all These are all logical places to guess with logical brains functioning, but they're all wrong. Think of some place, and it is not. Yeah, it is not anywhere in any pornographic non PG locations, not non PG 13 locations. On the jaw, nope. All right, little itty bitty pity show gets it. It's eyeballs. Leah Broadwetter blowhole. Yeah. So whale sharks have teeth on their eyeballs because you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. Yeah. Think of the most illogical place to have teeth. According to new research, they have sharp eye. Literally, their eyes are covered in tiny teeth. The dermal denticles are modified tiny teeth that cover the whale shark's eyeballs. So supposedly the sharks kind of like, if danger approaches, they can kind of suck their eyeball back and display all these dermal denticles. Whale sharks have teeth on their eyes. Oop, there's something else in addition. Let me see if it's any even creepy. Distributed on their eye surfaces. Harmless to humans, biggest of whales, 32 feet. Their eyes are covered in teeth. Okay, so they're saying it's pretty unique. Well, I would not at all be surprised if that changes. Okay, and they also have a strong ability to retract the eyeball into the eye socket. Anyway, yeah, there you go. I was just checking to see if there was anything else creepy about them that I had missed. Yeah, I know. See, that's why I say all of your. I was pretty sure you wouldn't guess it because nobody's going to guess that because that's like ridiculous. You guessed all logical, intelligent places and even maybe a little less intelligent but doable places. But you guessed every place but the stupidest place imaginable, and that was the answer. And I don't blame you because nobody can be as weird as this freaking timeline. Yeah. Tongue, you've guessed everything but the eyeballs. In anime and manga, there is a concept of beings need to go through harsh conditions in order to ascend. One manga in particular was quite focused on the term battling, balance, fight. Yeah, and you know, when you see like a huge meme and manga and anime, you know, when I was in college was just only a few people ever watched it, and it was very hard to find any. It sure as heck was not on mainstream television. You had to kind of, there weren't any that were dubbed or subbed. I mean, you tried to sit next to a Japanese person so they could kind of tell you what was going on a little bit because you wouldn't know. Now there's like, it's everywhere. It's on TV all the time. Of course, there was no internet when I was a kid, so you couldn't go on there. So yeah, and there's the very strong themes or tendencies, and this whole, by this constant strife and fighting and struggle, you get much more powerful is like a really, really, really common trope. And I do think there's a lot to be said about it because the whole time you're struggling, you hate it. But it's that whole what doesn't kill you make you stronger thing. And you might not get stronger for like 50 years while you're being all miserable and still trying to get out of it. But I hate to admit it, but there's probably a lot to be learned by the struggle, as much as I do my best to avoid it. Okay, so teeth on eyeballs. There is one other Mandela left. I'm waiting on mermaids. Yeah, mermaids and then flying pigs. And we're still looking for the unicorns. I still got one more kind of whack-doodle Mandela for today. I couldn't decide which one was weirder, the teeth on the eyeballs or this other one. And that was nobody mentioned the thumbnail. I guess I could have done like those fat-tailed sheep, but I've already done fat-tailed sheep as a thumbnail. So you got the one you got. Let's see. Wait, let's use this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Try not to play too much of it, because I don't want to get a big fat copyright strike. Yoink. All right, so yes, this is the... So what is going on here? Let me make it bigger. I hope you can see. Let's turn off the noise. I said, what is going on here? It's a waterfall, but the water is not falling. I'd really love to play more of this, but it's a copyright strike waiting to happen, so I'm not going to go too far. So, like, you see the water going down, but then it goes back up. Because it's a reverse waterfall. So, supposedly, like, high winds cause the water to go down, but then it goes back up and then just goes back the other way. So the first volley for this Mandela has been the story of reverse rivers, like rivers flowing up due to an earthquake. I don't really get how an earthquake makes a river flow uphill for hundreds of miles for days, but supposedly that did it. Then tidal bores did it. High winds. Okay, so my old timeline didn't have reverse waterfalls, and they didn't have reverse rivers, but... So yeah, first reverse rivers, now we've got reverse waterfalls, and there's a bunch of these. So this one in Maharashtra with high winds will do it, and there's it's not just some freak thing. Supposedly it's rare, but there's if you type in a reverse waterfall for Google. I like that one because it had the weird fingers, like the water. I could kind of see if the wind blew really hard and just pushed the water away from the edge, and it was like a reverse river. But this water actually kind of goes down and does the fingers and then goes back up. That's why it's super creepy. And that one's a pretty good example of it. So then there's this one, reverse waterfall near Sydney. That's the one that got me started. Then there's Nanagat one, the Multnomah Falls. All right, this one is actually some editing effects, but these other ones are legit. Bandardar, there's another reverse waterfall. This is the one we just saw here in Maharashtra. So yeah, Sandan Valley. I haven't seen that one yet. That one looks kind of interesting, actually. All right, so you can see it goes down to about there, and then it gets pushed back. So yeah, reverse waterfalls and teeth on the eyeballs. I don't know which one's weirder. What do you think? I couldn't decide. Back and forth. I've landed on this one as weirder, just because we've had teeth, like so many weird teeth down the throat, 100, like dozens of rows of teeth. But I haven't seen this reverse waterfall yet, so I'm like, okay, for once I've got a Mandela thumbnail that's not an animal. Might as well go for it. There's something really wrong with sharks. They have now nostrils and they can now smell blood. And mine tell them they could detect it, but not with their nose. Yeah, they didn't have, like, the fish didn't have tongues and they didn't have nostrils. Those were like land creature things. I mean, they could sense things, but they didn't have, yeah. And sharks, there's so many kinds, and they're all creepy, and they don't really look sharky that much anymore, a lot of them. Flying pigs, I mean, without helicopters, airplanes, hot air balloons, blah. Yeah, I don't know. What do we get first? I would guess, purple squirrels, we already got those. There's already been a few spotted purple squirrels, so those are done. You know, unicorns aren't that hard. It's just like a horse with like one horn. I mean, we've got lots of cloven animals with horns. You just have to have one instead of two. Tarantulas have claws that retract. No, I've not heard of that. Oh, you think teeth on eyeballs is weirder? The other reason is because you can't really see the teeth on the eyeballs as well as you can see the reverse river. So that was the other one. So yeah, tarantulas have claws that retract. No, I have not heard that. Tarantulas have claws. Yeah, no, I don't think so. 2 or 3 retractable claws at the end of each leg. Oh, so there's 2 or 3, but not 5. Oh no. Are used to grip surfaces for climbing. Also on the end of each leg, surrounding the claws, is a group of bristles called scopula, which help the tarantula grip better when climbing surfaces such as glass. Ah, so they get, what, sticky bristles and claws. Nice. Quite the little repertoire. Do tarantulas have retractable claws? That sounds like ridiculous. What is the hole on the tarantula's back? Tarantulas have an indentation near the middle of the carapace. It often looks like a hole, but it's just an internal attachment point for muscles, huh? Yeah, no. Sometimes I just read these to see what other weird stuff they mention along with the claws. That's a new one. Gotta have a spider in here somewhere. Oh, oh my, are you serious? So look at these. They look like little cat claws. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Tarsal claws. They're little kitty claws. Heteropodus tarsus. So obviously they're not the only one. Spider's paw is called a tarsus. Look at that. That's ridiculous. Now, I totally did notice that a lot of insects that used to just have like legs, and now they have this stick thing at the end of the legs. And that stick thing's gotten longer and longer. So I believe that that is, on the tarantula, it's this thing. They just used to have legs that ended, but now they have, like some of the insects, the stick thing is like a very different. It's really thin and small compared to the main leg, and So I think it might be this tarsus thing. Look at that. They're cute. Then when they're, at least when you're not looking at the whole spider, they're cute. They're all fuzzy. So what are we going to have, like what animal has both sticky grippies, bristles, and claws? You think the two would fight? Check that out. Psst. That is not the spider of my old timeline. You know, my old timeline spiders didn't have like a turret of eyeballs either. They just had two freaking eyes. They didn't have a turret. This is like ridiculous. But that's an older ME, definitely. Not many people mention that turret thing. That flips me out every time I see them like that. It's like ridiculous. It's like they have trash can heads with eyes or something. Adorable spider paws. Spider paws. Adorable. Shh. Look at that. It's like ridiculous. It's got little booties on or something. Shh. Yeah, that's a good find. Yes, very funny. No snakes. I didn't have any today. Well, I had, I had a spider on, even if it's only a paw. I must be slacking. It's been like a few weeks since I've had either, I think. You can have nightmares of the spider paws? Come on, that's the least gross thing I've had on in a while. Bouncy soil. I've had that. I've had bouncy soil on. That's that one where there's water under it and it's all like spongy. And yeah, I've had that one on. Unless there's another thing that I don't know about. Bouncy soil. Eva said there was a joke in her timeline that if you wanted the perfect employee who never showed up late with a great attitude, and you'd say, why not get a purple squirrel while you're at it? No, it was like this, like the perfect candidate, like you would have this laundry list of things you wanted in a candidate that were ridiculous. So like say you were like, I want them to have 3 PhDs, type 150 words per minute, and be able to, and be a world champion thumb wrestler, and I want them to live in the basement of work, or some kind of, not quite that ridiculous, but you get the pictures. Like some bosses just have this fantasy island of like they'll know exactly everything about their job before we even have to train them, and then they'll work for $10 an hour, and they would call that, and then like job people who like look headhunters and stuff would call it the purple squirrel because it would be like ridiculous. So you're not going to find anybody that ticks all those boxes. That would be the purple squirrel. Like the fantasy island, you aren't going to find that candidate type of job description. They don't exist. They're a purple squirrel. But in this timeline, there have been purple squirrels spotted. So again, kind of a fantasy meme joke concept comes to life, which the Mandela loves to do. I can dress like a spider, cat, 8-legged cat that sticks to walls and has claws. Meow. Yeah, cats actually manage to stick to walls pretty good. But they don't have 8 legs. That would be concerning, considering they're pretty mean with the 2 to 4 legs that they already attack you with. 2 eyeballs for spiders in my timeline too. No, actually, there wasn't really. I'm trying to think if there was anything that had more than 2 eyeballs back then. The most creepy eyes was the fly, and they had compound eyes. So they had 2 eyes, but those eyes were kind of split up into like, so they kind of operated almost like separated eyes, but they still only had 2 of them. And that's why they were all special. Ooh, the compound eye is so amazing. Whoa. But I mean, nowadays it's like nothing. It's big whoop-de-doo-dah. Because there's all these things that have all these creepy eyes, like spiders. And it was like a big thing. How does the brain keep track of all those eye processing in just this tiny little fly? So it's not a big deal here. Cats are easy to look after. They look after themselves. Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, they're easier than a dog, but... I mean, I like kitties and I like doggies. There's certain benefits to each, and cats are easier, generally speaking. But dogs are more loving. So, dogs look at you in a way that most cats just won't. There's like an utter adoration in a dog's eye that cats are a little bit more human-like, like you'll get some love if you deserve it, but you won't get, that intense love usually that a lot of dogs will give you. But, hey, maybe you get what you deserve with the cat a little bit more than with a dog. But then you got to take care of that dog. There's no free rides, so dogs need more. Cats they're awesome. They're their own person. No one changes. You kind of have to appreciate it in a way, though, because, like, if you get attention from a cat and they like you, you usually kind of had to earn it. But then there's that special feeling when a dog looks at you, So I don't know. Yeah, I like them both. If you've got a busy lifestyle, though, a cat is generally much more doable. Alrighty, anyways, I think that's about it. I can't see a cat throwing itself between me and danger. Actually, there have been videos in recent years of, like, this cat. A dog attacked a child, and the child's cat ran out there and kicked this dog's butt and chased it off. So it's not beyond the pale. But yeah, you wouldn't really think of it as much as you would think of it for a dog. Check in the mixed bird flock with little ones and big ones flying together. I've never seen that before this week. Mixed bird flock. Huh, yeah, actually I've never heard of a more than one kind of bird going in a flock. Mixed species foraging flock. Yeah, I've not heard of that. Foraging flock. Alright, so they're kind of similar looking birds right now. But it is listed. We'll probably see more of that. I've talked before about different animals working and hunting and stuff together in this timeline. There's a whole bunch of them. Like birds keeping pet snakes, and different sea animals hunting together. What was it? Wolves and something else were hunting together. So, I mean, this is not super surprising compared to all that. But yeah, I've not heard of mixed bird flocks before. It's actually not illogical that they would, but yep. Alright, I'm not really finding any good images, but I did see it mentioned, so this might be kind of a new Mandela, and we don't have good images yet. It will come. Alright, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to try to get to bed kind of early. The last Spider-Man movie really made going against danger a popular term with the song What's Up Danger. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the more recent movies at all. Oh yeah, that's right. Birds of a feather flock together. That's going to be null and void. Come to think of it. Anyways, try to keep even keel. I've mentioned before. Um, Try to not fall victim to the negative. That guy's an idiot. I'm so great. Try to have empathy, love, that kind of thing. I think it's going to smooth our path because I think that that's where we're going. So if we don't have a lot of that, if we're not comfortable with that, I think it's going to be a lot harder to get where you're going. So I think it's going to be a lot easier if you cultivate that. Even if you see somebody being a dumb arse, try not to fixate on how dumb they are, and instead try to fixate more on helping them, that kind of thing. Direct it more in that direction. It'd probably be a good idea. It's hard for me sometimes to not think about how dumb something is, but at least I try to keep it vague, like this concept is dumb, instead of like this person. Try not to get sucked all into the I'm better than you game, that kind of thing. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to say that. So there you go. I wanted to close on that note. And guess what? I don't know how to log out of here. All right, I'm going to return to the studio. I know where it is on the new one, I think. Nope. Or I don't. This is so bad. It really is. All right, let's see if we can get this figured out. Shoot, how come I can't click on it? Via view in live control room. That sounds good. I really need like somebody else to do all this hard technical stuff. All right, look, I accidentally found that thing I was looking for forever and couldn't find. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that button that says power. Yeah. It's a laptop. It has a battery. But I guess I could just like pound the off button. All right. I found it. So, think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Oops. And I clicked on not yet. Bye.